Good evening, everyone. This is Priscilla with Cilla Travel, coming at you live from Summerville, South Carolina. That is 30 miles, about 25, 30 miles from downtown Charleston. And Charleston is the topic for today. So I would like to just thank all of my live viewers and those of you who can't be live. I would like to thank all of the replay viewers. Let me just go back a little bit and do a little bit of housekeeping. I'm going to be streaming. I'm streaming from my laptop live, and I also have my phone so I can see comments because sometimes it's difficult to see what's going on the laptop.
Good evening, everyone.
Ooh, see?
I would like to thank all the replay viewers.
I am going to mute that. Sorry about that. I just wanted to make sure that I could hear myself and that I was actually streaming on Facebook. So now that I know that everybody is here, now one thing with StreamYard, because I'm using a tool called StreamYard, when you go to Facebook and if you want to comment, you have to click the link right above the post that says you're granting StreamYard permission to see your name. So that means if you make comments, I can only see Facebook user here on the screen versus your real name. So you've got to click the link to grant StreamYard permission to see your Facebook profile information. Now, let's get at it. So my name is Priscilla. I'm the agency owner and operator of Cilla Travel. And I'm a travel advisor. I have one assistant. She's my daughter. Her name's Kaitlin. So she's a part-timer. And you know how it is when you have your family working for you. She is an aspiring photographer. She's in college and she's taking photography. So what I do is I do custom travel. I do luxury travel packages for people. And when I say luxury, let me explain what luxury means. Luxury means the level of service that you get. Luxury to me means when you get that dream trip put together, from cradle to grave, from beginning to end-to-end travel. I put it all together for you. I sit down with you, have a discussion with you. You tell me all of the things that you've always dreamed of doing when you take your trip. You tell me all of the things that you like, anything else that you want to throw in there. And I craft a travel design for you that's designed just for you. I help you live the dream through travel. So granted, right now, COVID's kind of throwing a monkey wrench into everything. But travel is starting to open up internationally. I might add, international travel. But we still have to pay close attention. Because the countries, it's not just the United States that is have been impacted. It's the entire world. And I know sometimes in the US we sort of think of things in terms of ourselves all of the time instead of thinking about what's happening outside of our borders, because we tend to think that the United States is the beginning and end of everything in the whole world. Well, there's a whole world out there, and it's impacting our ability to travel and to do, all those dream activities and visit all those places we always want to. So just have to pay close attention. Things are opening slowly, but there's some restrictions. But until that happens, because it's still a fluid thing, things could be open one day, the next day could be closed. So until we get there, what I've been focusing on is my own backyard. I did a Charleston Stay-Cation. So like I said, I'm a few miles from Charleston. So like 25, 30. Hey, we have an interstate. It doesn't take me that long to get there, provided there's no traffic, So I've lived here for, let's say, in the region, in the area for like over 20 something years when I got out of the Army. So yes, I'm a veteran. I served. So I've been here and you just take it for granted, So now is the time to like really dig deep, dig in, and just get familiar with your own city until you're able to get outside of the country, and until you're able to go and explore those places that you've always dreamed of. So if you're in the US, right, and you may not even be local to Charleston, Charleston is an option for you to come to. Uh, uh, I was on a webinar earlier this evening with some fellow travel agents, and they were doing sort of a battle of carnivals in the Caribbean islands. It was sort of the island of Grenada versus Trinidad and Tobago, and in the conversation, it came out that Trinidad and Tobago gets really, really hot, right? Well, guess what? South Carolina gets really, really hot. So it might not be the tropics that you imagined, but you can sort of get close to it. We have a lot of similarities, except we have more hurricanes here than you do over there. So what I did, my assistant and I, my lovely assistant and I, we did a Charleston Stay-Cation, and we stayed at the Charleston Harbor Resort and Marina, and that is on Mount Pleasant. That is right across the Arthur Ravenel Bridge. That's across from the island, the main island of Charleston, but it's still the Charleston area. And it's a luxury resort. It was very beautiful. We were supposed to stay a few weeks ago, but being in Charleston, we had a tropical storm, number one. And then after that, we had the protests here. So I decided to wait. And even though we went last week, wouldn't you know, it still rained. But thank goodness, when we went downtown Charleston, it didn't rain that day. It did catch up with us the next day. So let me just stop and say hello to my lovely visitors. Hey, Sherry Ann, how are you? And Nicole, good to see you. Glad to see you. So if you've got any questions, just be sure to post them. And when I get breaks, I'll address those questions. So like I said, we did this Charleston Stay-Cation. We stayed in our area because people love coming to Charleston. And, I've worked around the area, go shopping in the area, all the time. And I'm like, I go other places to go see culture and exotic food and, entertainment and go on tours. And I said, you know what? Charleston has all of those things. Why don't you go do it? So that's what I decided to do. So while we have this lull, I decided we're going to do a Charleston Stay-Cation. So I am going to share my slides and let us see. I'm going to share the slides. Hang on just a second. The application. Got it. You see, I have glasses. I wear glasses for a reason. So let me start my slide deck from the very beginning. Here we go. A staycation in Charleston. Can everybody see? Can everybody see this presentation here? Let me know. Can you see? I'm looking over here at my phone. I'm waving. Let's see. It doesn't look like you guys can see it, so let me hit the escape button. Sorry about that, guys. Let me go back to my broadcast. I can see it. Yes, you can see that. I did it before, and I will do it again. All right. Come on, presentation. Okay. I'm going to stop sharing for a second and try to do that again. Screen share. Okay. Let's see. Let's do it right now. Screen share. And application window. Start. Go back to the beginning and start. Sorry about that, guys. It just seems like as soon as you want to do something, you can't get it to work. Here we go. There it is. I see it. Okay. There we go. Can you see it? There we go. Hey guys, can you see my presentation? I'm looking over here on my phone and it's like really, really slow. There we go. There's a delay. Here we go. Oh, here. My computer's been slow all day. June 11th and 12th. That was last Thursday and Friday. We went downtown Charleston. So the first thing we did was we went downtown and we went on a tour, a walking tour. So I was a little bit gun shy about doing the carriage tour, considering all of the COVID stuff going on. So I preferred to do a walking tour. And our tour guide, well, her name's Tyler, and the name of her company is Walk and Talk Charleston. And we had a really wonderful and long tour. The tour was generally 2 hours. We walked for 3 hours. And it was hot. And we had our masks on. And I was sweltering. But, you know, we did socially distance. So after a while, I did take mine off so I could breathe. But we were outside. We maintained our distance. So there's a lot of history in Charleston, but this is one of the main sites that people come to see when they come to see Charleston. It's called St. Michael's Episcopal Church. So it is one of the oldest, I believe it is the oldest standing church still left in Charleston. So Charleston is also called the Holy City because back in the day, in the colonial times, that's right, during the colonial times, before the Revolutionary War, before the United States became a sovereign nation, the King of England, he was pretty open to religious freedom. So he allowed people to come to Charleston, no matter what their religious background was, and they were free to establish churches. So here we came. St. Michael's, it's a historic church, the oldest surviving religious structure in Charleston, and is located at Broad and Meeting Street. Been there so many times. And where it is, it's an intersection called the Four Corners of Law, because you've got the church on one corner, you've got the federal court on one corner, you've got the local court on the other corner, and the state, the state court on the other. So it's called the Four Corners of Law. So that's what St. Michael's looks like in the front. That's the historic steeple that you can see when you're looking down King Street or Meeting Street. This is the steeple that everybody comes to see in Charleston, and everybody takes so many pictures of it. So Another place that I thought was quite interesting, and I couldn't do them all because there were just so many places that we walked. Like I said, we walked for 3 whole hours. This street here, it's the one of the remaining cobblestone streets left. It was named Labor Lane. Back in those days, like in the 1700s, this was a street before. Now it's gentrified, right? Right now it's gentrified, but a lot of the African American people live there on the street. And the street to this day is still cobbled because they never got around to paving it, since it was mostly some of the African Americans who live there and the poor people who live there. They said, we'll get to that street later. And they just never did. And now it's like people come, bloggers come and they take pictures on the street. So I bet you didn't know that brothels were a huge thing in Charleston. So there were very many brothels. So our tour guide told us she gave us so many historical facts and interesting facts about the people that actually lived downtown Charleston. So it's not all about the Civil War and all that. She actually talked about the lives of the people who live here. And there were quite some characters who lived here back in those days. So we actually went to another site that people come. It's called Waterfront Park. And you can see right there, I am like on the pier. It's it's just like they have like in Galveston, where they have like, they build up the area so that the water doesn't come and flood the streets. Forget what you call that. But you can see ships. That ship has been there stuck for about a year. Because there is some dispute about international trade, who owns the cargo that's on that ship. So the crew are actually stranded out there. They can't leave and they can't come ashore. So every so often you'll see people taking boats out there, taking food to the crew. And they've been stranded out there since before Corona. So there you've got a dispute in over this cargo ship and its cargo and who owns the cargo. So also at the end of the street, or the end of this pier here, I just picked out a couple of the things that stood out to me. This is a memorial to Robert Smalls. And I don't know if you know who Robert Smalls was, but Robert Smalls was one of the first African-American senators after the war. But before then, when the revolution started, of course, it started here in Charleston, right? So Robert Smalls, he was a harbor pilot, right? So all enslaved people, they weren't all field hands. He was an enslaved harbor pilot, and he was aboard that ship called the Planter. And it was a Confederate transport, right? So what he and some of the other enslaved crew did, which was really enterprising and smart, they took the vessel before dawn when the captain and the engineer, they were ashore partying with the ladies of the night. That was an activity back then. So what they did, they got the uniforms, put on uniforms, and it was dark. They took the ship and they got all their family and friends, however many they could get, on the ship. And they sailed the ship through the channel. And they sailed it to where the Union fleet was blockading the harbor. So they got free. They became free by doing that. And no one could see. If anybody questioned who they were, they couldn't see. They had on the uniforms. And no one came close, and they didn't suspect a thing. No one suspected that the African-American people would do something like that. So Robert Smalls, there's a memorial to him. There's also a memorial to him and a school named after him in Beaufort, South Carolina. So they sailed to freedom. So let's see. Now, after we went and did all of the sightseeing, I just don't have time to do it all. We did eat lunch at Charleston 167 Raw Oyster Bar. So that's what we had. I got something different than the traditional fare because it was lunchtime, number one. And that is a po' boy. And I know if you know anything about Southern food or Southern seafood, a po' boy is generally has shrimp on it. Well, this is with scallops, and it had a savory sauce on it, and there were some chips and some pickles. So they did a little spin on it. And my assistant, she had one with oysters on hers. So it was quite tasty. So, like I said earlier, in one of my videos that I did last week, we sat on the outside. So even though, you know, some of the restrictions have been lifted and some of the bars and restaurants have opened to the public, some of these places are small, and I just felt more comfortable eating on the outside. So on the outside, they sort of have it decorated with the lights, and we're sitting like on a veranda at this restaurant. So after that, we went to the resort, which is the beach club at the Charleston Harbor Resort and Marina. So we went across the bridge to Mount Pleasant, and that is where this resort is. And there are actually two resorts. There's the Harbor Club and the Beach Club. The Harbor Resort is next door to this one, but we stayed at this beach club resort. I like beaches. I like beach clubs. There's like a private beach, although this beach is not for swimming because of where this resort is, and the beach is on the marina. So it's right next door to a marina. There are actually commercial ships that go up and down, but there are lots of pools and at this resort. So it's luxury, as you can see when you walk into the hallways, just lovely, absolutely gorgeous. I just felt it was just so beautiful. Like I said, there's a private beach, which is not for swimming. You can see off to the side. This is a part of the marina. And this right here, this pier that you can see right here, the city of Charleston actually runs a ferry daily where it comes from Charleston to this resort, picks people up, takes them to Charleston, and comes back and gets them. It's like a ferry. It runs throughout the day. So you can catch the ferry. If you stay at this resort, you could catch that boat. It's run by the city of Charleston, take you to Charleston. You can do shopping. You could do sightseeing. You can do eating. There are museums. There are galleries. There are so many things that you could do there. And then you can hop on the ferry and come right back. So this is the type of room that we had. And it was lovely. Oh my God, it was so beautiful. We had a double room. And this picture does not even do it justice. It is so beautiful. So in this video I did it the day we were there. So I'm going to play it.
Hello, this is Priscilla with Cilla Travel. And if you don't know me, I help you create your dream vacation. I help you live the dream through travel. We are at a staycation. That's myself and my assistant, Kaitlin. We are at the Charleston Harbor Resort and Marina in Mount Pleasant, South Carolina. We just spent the day doing a downtown Charleston tour. Now we're at the resort. So I just want you to see this luxury accommodation. Here we go. Here is the room once you enter. So here we go. Here is what the room looks like, and it is absolutely fabulous. These are luxury accommodations. There you have the two double. There's a desk, a fireplace, and television. Here is a nice bureau, dresser. And here we have the balcony. Beautiful. Stepping out on the balcony right now. And you can see we're right outside the USS Yorktown. So that is a naval museum. We're at the beach club. There are two clubs. There is the Harbor Resort, which is the sister resort right next door. You can see it over there. This is the beach resort. So you can see there are two pools. Well, excuse me, there's a pool here. There's a pool at the harbor side. Yeah, there's a second pool over there. I think that's a sauna. And this is the back. That is the little club they've got. This is a beautiful place. And that's the harbor. So there's actually a harbor here where people can take their boats out. And there's also between the buildings, not this side, this is the harbor, but on the other side between the buildings, there is, if you can see that red top building over there, the city of Charleston has a ferry sort of shuttle that actually takes you from Mount Pleasant to Charleston and back. So that's a separate thing run by Charleston, but I just wanted you to see what the room looked like. These are luxury accommodations here in Charleston, the Charleston Harbor Resort and Marina. This is Priscilla of Cilla Travel showing you the room, and this is absolutely fabulous. Like I said in one of my other videos, I consider getting your travel done for you, end-to-end travel, custom travel, a luxury. So that is the type of travel that I specialize in. I am right now doing my research, looking for wonderful places, beautiful places to suggest that my clients stay at. Even when this coronavirus thing is over, this is still a wonderful place to come and visit. But right now, since you can travel internationally, but it's limited, we're still at a level 4 travel advisory from the Department of State. And that means it's recommended that U.S. citizens don't travel. Although it's not saying you can't travel, you can travel for emergency reasons, but because of the coronavirus, they're still recommending that at this point in time that you don't travel. So overseas, outside of the country. So in case you don't feel comfortable taking that chance, or you're in need of a getaway, come to Charleston. If you're already in the area, you don't have to go far. If you live in South Carolina, Georgia, North Carolina, this place is fairly close to you. So the Charleston Harbor Resort and Marina in Mount Pleasant, that's right across the Arthur Ravenel Bridge. That's the bridge behind the USS Yorktown. Let me see that again. Come on. Turn this video around. It doesn't want to work. There we go. Hold on. There we go. My phone was, I guess I need to charge it. But beyond the USS Yorktown, you'll see the Arthur Ravenel Bridge. That's the bridge that we drove across from downtown Charleston. That's the bridge that they also do the bridge run here in April. We didn't have it this year, but hopefully next year we'll have it. Right across the bridge from downtown. So Charleston Harbor Resort and Marina. There's also a boat shuttle that will take you to the peninsula and back across again. So this is Priscilla just showing you the luxury accommodations, beautiful resort. And my assistant Kaitlin and I are going to go find some place to go shopping.
Yeah, so let's see. Next, that's the USS Yorktown. That's a close-up picture of it. That is a U.S. Maritime Museum. It's a real live aircraft carrier. And there are some other ships there that you can visit. It's actually an attraction. You can actually camp there. As we were leaving to go find shopping and some more food, we saw that people were in line waiting to get in, and they had their campers. So that's the USS Yorktown. That's right down from the Charleston Harbor Resort and Marina. Here's some views from the balcony. As you can see, I just wanted you to see that they gave me a robe. I had a nice thick robe. Here's some close-ups of the pool and the marina. So people actually take their boats out there. Beautiful. I wish I were a seaworthy person. Beautiful. So after that, the next day we spent the night there, and then the next thing we did was eat breakfast. And we found a place called the Savage Biscuit in Mount Pleasant. And I'm trying to be healthy here. I gained a few pounds being like on shutdown and lockdown and quarantine and stay-at-home orders, blah, blah, blah. So I'm trying to eat healthy here. So there was a place called the Savage Biscuit. That was oatmeal. I like oatmeal. So my daughter had a biscuit with a whole bunch of stuff on hers, but I stuck with the Savage Biscuit, the oatmeal at the Savage Biscuit. So that's the end of my presentation. Does anybody have any questions that they would like to ask about Charleston? So let me go back to, there's a lag here, and it's taken a little bit of time. Wow. It took a little bit of time. There's a delay here. But that's what we did in Charleston last week. And we will be, until we're able to leave the country and go somewhere, we will be visiting other places. So there's also a African-American flavor to Charleston that is now being talked about, as you saw where they put the plaque up for Robert Smalls, where they're starting to interweave African-American history into the history. The group of people now, the Charleston Historic Society, is doing a very good job at doing that. They're telling the whole story. So it was quite interesting. So Ms. Tyler from Walk and Talk Charleston, I really enjoyed her. I really enjoyed her tour. And Nicole, it was Walk and Talk Charleston. Her name is Tyler. She's on Instagram. That's how I found her. Instagram. So IG is the jam. So for what I've found out and what I'm hearing. So I'm learning Instagram as well, but they don't allow you to stream directly to Instagram at this point in time. So we're gonna just stick with Facebook for right now. But I just wanted to come on. I wanted to share with you guys my staycation, my trip downtown Charleston. And even though it was overnight, I felt so relaxed and invigorated once we came back the next day. We did a little shopping. The next day it rained. The rain caught up with us. We went to our shopping. There's a shopping center in Mount Pleasant. And then we came back across the bridge. And I went to the Tanger Outlet, which is another attraction, on my way home, of course. So more to come as we start exploring more. The weather didn't hold up so well, so we couldn't do as much as I would have wanted, but I didn't want to put the trip off any longer. Does anybody else have any comments or any questions? Oh, Tammy Wilbanks. Hello, Tammy. So just doing some housekeeping, checking, and hey, my replay audience, I want to thank you when you do come and do the replay. I understand that everyone cannot come on live all of the time, but replay audience, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I'm flattered and I'm honored that you would spend your time to replay my video. And I'm flattered and honored that you folks who are here live would listen to my video. Forgive my technical snafu there. We have something going on with the internet here. But Charleston is definitely an interesting place to come visit. There's also the Gullah Geechee culture. And if you hear the Gullah Geechee people talk, you would think they were from the Caribbean. So the Gullah Geechee people are descendants of West African enslaved people who came here, and they came from all over West Africa, and they were thrown together. They banded together. They kept some of their culture, the majority of their culture, and formed this language, which is like a Creole type language, English, and some African words. And they have really, really, really flavored the Charleston area. And when I say flavored, I mean with the food. So the food is generally, oh my God, seafood. Some of the staples that we eat, they're actually Gullah recipes, like frogmore stew, or they call it low country boil, but it's frogmore stew. My husband makes it. You make it with crab and sausage and potatoes and shrimp, and throw it in the pot and boil it, with your Old Bay seasoning and whatever other seasonings you want to put in there. And it is oh so scrumptious. And that's one of the staples here in the Low Country. But this is Priscilla with Cilla Travel. I just wanted to just come on and just show you Charleston. So going forward, I'll be doing some other destinations, and hopefully I'll be able to get some other guests on. Maybe some of those guests are watching now, but they're experts in certain destinations, and I would like to get some of them on to talk. So this is Priscilla with Cilla Travel, coming at you live, reminding you that I help you live the dream through travel. I do luxury travel. I do travel designs tailored especially just for you, the things that you want to do, the things that you want to see, the sights that you want to experience, the foods that you want to taste, all of those cultural things, all of those adventure things, those things that make up your dreams. I help you make those dreams come true. So if you like, you can go to the top of this video, at the top of this Facebook page. You can see where it says contact me. You can either DM me if you're interested in coming to Charleston, or you can get on my calendar. I do a courtesy discovery call. It's only 15 minutes. And then you can determine if my company is the company that you would like to work with, so that I can help you plan your dream vacation. I can also help educate you on the places to go right now and the places not to go right now. So this is Priscilla with Cilla Travel, and I'm going to be signing off. I'm signing off right now. And you guys just have a great afternoon and have a great evening. Bye-bye.